Jim Carrey's powerful speech on Jesus, suffering, and forgiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, seekers of truth, thank you for being here today. I want to talk to you about something that's been on my mind for a long time. Something that, in my own journey through this crazy life, has given me great peace, and I hope, in some small way, it might give you peace as well. I want to talk about Jesus, suffering, and the power of forgiveness. Now you might be thinking, Jim Carrey? What does he know about Jesus or suffering or forgiveness? I get it. I've made my career pretending to be other people, making people laugh, and creating characters that, for a moment, let you forget about your own struggles. But let me tell you, the truth is, we all suffer. We all go through pain, and there's something incredible we can learn from Jesus' life and teachings that can help us move through that suffering with grace and compassion. Let's start with suffering. Because, let's face it, we all know it's a part of life. You can't escape it. Whether it's losing a loved one, dealing with illness, going through heartbreak, or just feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders, suffering comes in all shapes and sizes. I've felt it. I know what it's like to feel like the world's against you. I know what it's like to feel like you're stuck in a moment you can't escape, a moment that feels endless. But you know, Jesus understood suffering in a way that few of us could ever imagine. He knew what it was like to hurt. He knew what it was like to feel betrayed. He knew what it was like to feel abandoned by those closest to him. And yet, he never gave in to hatred or bitterness. He didn't allow suffering to turn him into a monster. Instead, he used his pain to show us something deeply profound. In his moments of greatest agony, Jesus didn't curse the world or scream at his tormentors. He didn't demand retribution. He didn't fight back with violence. Instead, he chose forgiveness. He chose love. And that's the key, my friends. That's the lesson we need to learn from him. We live in a world where it's so easy to hold on to our anger, to let bitterness fester in our hearts. When we're wronged, we want to get even. When we suffer, we want to know why. We want to lash out. But Jesus shows us a different way. He said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Think about that for a second. He was on the cross. He was dying. He had been beaten, humiliated, tortured, and mocked. He was in the worst kind of physical and emotional pain imaginable. And in that moment, what did he do? He forgave. He forgave the very people who were causing him to suffer. And here's where it gets real, my friends. Forgiveness is not easy. It's not something you can just will yourself into. It's not a light switch you can flick on. But it is a choice. It is a powerful choice. And I believe it's one of the most freeing things you can do for yourself. Because forgiveness doesn't change the other person. It changes you. It releases you from the prison of your own bitterness and resentment. I've had to forgive a lot in my life. Not just other people, but myself as well. I've made mistakes. I've hurt others. I've hurt myself. And I know I'm not alone in that. We all have things in our past, things that haunt us, things we wish we could take back. But here's the thing. The past is gone. We can't change it. We can't undo it. But we can choose how we respond to it. We can choose to let go of the weight we carry. We can choose to forgive. I remember a time in my life when I was in deep despair. I was struggling. I had a lot of pain I didn't know how to handle. And I remember, in the midst of that struggle, hearing a voice inside me say, "Let go. Forgive." It wasn't an audible voice, but it was a deep knowing in my soul. And I knew, deep down, that if I didn't forgive, if I didn't let go of the anger and the hurt, I would remain trapped. Jesus, in his infinite wisdom, understood that. He knew that holding on to anger and resentment would only prolong suffering. He knew that forgiveness was the key to freeing ourselves from the chains of the past. And that's why he was able to say, "Peace be with you," even in the darkest hour. Now you might be thinking, "Jim, forgiveness sounds great. But what about the people who have wronged me? What about the ones who have hurt me in ways I can never undo?" And I hear you. It's not easy. It's hard. But think about it this way. When you forgive, you don't give permission for what happened to be okay. You don't excuse the behavior, you don't forget. But what you do is you free yourself from carrying the burden of that hurt. You let go of the toxic energy that keeps you stuck. You let go of the resentment that holds you hostage.